right. Hello and welcome to another Expert Insight interview. My name is John Golden from SalesPOP, online sales magazine and Pipeliner CRM, joining you as usual from a sunny San Diego. And today I'm delighted to be joined from the other coast in New York City, and probably a pretty chilly New York City, is Will de Principe. How are you doing, Will?
I'm doing well. Yeah, the exact opposite as what you're seeing over in San Diego. I am snowed in here in the office.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did live in the East Coast for a bit, just outside DC. So we did have a couple of harsh winters, but I prefer this.
The beautiful part about my situation is I actually live in the office. This is not like a joke.
Wow.
My apartment is attached to the office via a terrace.
Oh, wow.
So I don't necessarily get snowed in because I'm always
Yeah.
in,
So you have a rough commute then, yeah?
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. A couple stairs. It's the worst.
Yeah. So you are a founding head of growth at Thorley, where you help enterprise teams deploy AI voice agents that transform revenue operations. So you're working at the intersection of marketing, sales, partnerships, product, driving user acquisition, and deep hands-on experience in conversational AI. You specialize in designing and deploying inbound and outbound voice agents, voice AI agents for real world
Yes.
business use. That's what we're going to talk about. So tell me, in your role right now, in your experience in growth and solutions engineering, how has that shaped your thought about the way AI agents should be deployed?
Absolutely. First of all, being at this company made me not only shape the way that I think about AI voice agents, AI agents in general, but it made me know for certain what's going to happen in the future. I think that there's not going to be one business that you go into where you're not going to be communicating to AI at one point of the journey. We've come to realize this in companies that we've already implemented for. For example, what we do best is we actually work at the top of the pipeline. We work on the outbound calling the best. Meaning there's going to be no point in time where you submit a form and you don't get a personalized follow-up. In terms of the text messaging and the emailing, I really do think that's a way of the past. And I think with technologies like ours, we're going to be able to have dynamic conversations, making sure we get an answer from a customer and re-engage them to get them to the next stage of the pipeline.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk around AI voice agents, and some companies like got out fast and were putting out these calling agents and stuff that, to be honest, haven't been that successful. But tell me, where are voice agents today, and how are you seeing them used in sales effectively?
Absolutely. So there's so many misconceptions about like what AI voice agents are supposed to do, where do they fit best, what's their best use case. I can tell you this for a fact. Although AI voice agents can be used everywhere, a chiropractor in the middle of Warsaw, Indiana is not going to see the same effects as voice agents as a big, let's say, mortgage company getting a bunch of inbound leads. The
Right.
reason being is because the intent of these leads, what they're looking for, and the answers that they could get. For the inbound chiropractor, this is a valued lead because let's say they get 100 calls a month, and that's a lot for them.
Yeah.
This lead is so valuable for them, and this lead already knows what they want. For the big mortgage company, these are high consideration B2C leads. So they need a little bit of nurturing. They need a little bit of nudge. They need to talk it over with somebody. That's not going to be done inside of an email. That's not going to be done inside of a text message, but it can easily be done inside of a call. So what we do for these type of people is we re-engage old leads. We reach out as soon as somebody fills out a form, and then we push them to the next stage of the pipeline, whatever that is, it might be.
Yeah, and one of the things, I mean, and you mentioned there, especially in in B2C companies, that lead follow up is so critical, the speedy lead follow up, and that's where things fall through the gap. I mean, I've had the experiences myself, not that long ago, like looking for things and then like reaching out to companies, local companies, and then being blown away and never hearing back.
Let me ask you this, John,
Yeah.
because this is a question I get all the time. I'm interested to know your opinion. Would you feel it to be a tad bit or at all intrusive to receive a personalized follow-up after you fill out a form?
Well, no, not at all. That would be the point.
Absolutely. I get this question all the time. I'll be on calls with customers or potential prospects, and they'll say to me, Well, don't you think that it's, a tad bit intrusive or it's a tad bit spammy? The truth of the matter is it's absolutely not. We come at it with complete transparency, and it's almost always a professional experience.
Right. And like you said, I mean, the thing about, if you fill out a form, you reach out to a company or whatever, you're looking for a follow-up. I mean, that's what you're doing. So, I mean, kind of it makes sense. And if you're
Mhm.
sitting there for 3 days, I mean, I've had people call me a week after later and say, "Oh yeah, you're interested," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, a week
Y-
ago I was."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
um, so, I mean, but to your point though, how important is it do you think, for consumers to know that it's AI they're dealing with?
Huge.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, when we first got started, coming at it from complete transparency, we got started around 2.5, 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And a lot of people joined our platform because they wanted it to manipulate.
Mhm.
There was no laws or regulations about this, but they
Right.
wanted it to sound like a human, be a human, and trick the person like they were talking to
Mhm.
a human.
Yeah.
This was also before the cold calling regulations.
Mhm.
So everything was on the table. This was messy, and we saw it personally. There was a lot of people with frustrations, a lot
Mhm.
of people who didn't opt into calls back when, cold calling was legal with AI voice agents. And it overall was just an absolute mess. What we've come to realize is that you get somewhere around a 90 to a 95% retention rate if you come at it with an angle of transparency.
Mhm.
Like, hey, this is we like to call her Tessa. This is Tessa calling from Thorley, calling because you recently showed interest in AI voice agents like myself. I'm here to ask XYZ. Is right now a good time to chat?
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about that, Will, is, I mean, in that case, I mean, obviously, I mean, if you're in investigating AI voice agents and an AI voice agent calls you back, then that's pretty good synergy there. But even if that's not your business, I think that's here's my feeling on the subject is that, yeah, I think you should absolutely be transparent, and then if the experience is good, well, then that's it. It's solved the problem. If the experience isn't good, then yeah, then you have to reconsider. But if the experience is good, then, and I know it's AI, what do I care?
Exactly. 100%. And matter of fact, a lot of people give like a little checkbox saying that they're going to receive a call with AI.
Hmm.
TCPA and the regulations around
Yeah.
that does apply to different states, but a lot of people know it's coming. And even if they don't, we've launched these huge re-engagement campaigns, meaning leads that have previously opted in and shown an interest. We're then pushing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of calls to these people.
Mhm.
And you're seeing a very low rate of people caring or dropping off that it's an AI. Because
Right.
truth of the matter is, if there's interest there, they're going to continue the conversation.
Mhm. What about in B2B? How does this operate in B2B? Because that gets a little more complicated.
I love that question, and it is something that we have board meetings about. We
Hmm.
are we are discussing and trying to find different ways of cracking into B2B. It's a huge space,
Hmm.
but there are limitations in terms of B2B. A lot of people want to cold call directly into businesses,
Hmm.
which is legal. You can do, but it is tough
Hmm.
because let's be honest. There's people whose job it is to gatekeep
Yep.
from talking to decision makers.
Hmm.
So AI voice agents will oftentimes get weeded out. There's also IVRs that you have to get past. Press one to get to this person,
Yeah.
press two to
Yeah.
get to this person. That's tough. Once again, here at Thoughtly, we're having board meetings about how we could make this a little bit of an easier experience. But the B2B cold calling, I could say, is really tough. Oftentimes doesn't work.
Yep.
However, there is this huge there's this huge use case of calling into businesses, medical in particular, and getting the status of a current customer.
Mm.
I believe it's called medical billing. We've explored this a couple of times, and it's been very successful. We call into medical fields. We ask about a current customer status. We get that status. We return it back to the CRM.
Right.
This is filling a complete job in and of itself. There are
Mm.
there are hundreds of thousands of people worldwide doing this daily, 12 hours a day, just dialing these medical institutions. And we've shown very promising results in that particular space.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great use case, and I think of filling in data and getting up to date data, because that's the other thing that I think. people fail to understand is your data is critical to any AI deployment, right? Especially if you're leveraging internal data and your data is not clean,
Yeah.
then your AI is not going to be clean either.
And that I would hate to pivot away from Thorley because I love Thorley so much,
Yeah.
but that kind of reminds me of what's going on right now inside of my office. Have you ever heard of OpenClaw?
OpenClaw.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
John, it is crazy. I have seen crazy tech. I've been a part of crazy tech. I've been to conferences. I've been in meetings with crazy tech. But OpenClaw is it's an open source model that allows you to pretty much do like this AI does everything.
Right,
It
right.
connects into Telegram and WhatsApp, and you pretty much tell it anything you want it to do. You give it the proper configuration, the API keys, you tie it into your systems, and it could click around and do what humans do. For example, it orders the CEO of the company. It orders his groceries every month. It knows what he wants. He makes a checklist. They organize the checklist together. It handles all of the documents that that need to be organized. It handles follow-ups. It tells them like, "Hey, boss, here's the to-do list for today."
Mm-hmm.
It does everything, and it's so scary of what this becomes because if it's ordering him groceries right now and it has that information 2 weeks into knowing him,
Yeah.
it's like one big Black Mirror episode. Who knows where it could go from here?
No, absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I think it's critical that people understand it better,
Mhm.
and I think the other thing, and I think this is where it'll help voice agents, is that when people start to transition and really understand how to interact with AI, because I still find today a lot of people are using the different LLMs as they're just using them as a new Google search, right? They're
Yeah.
putting in one search string, like the same search string they would have put into Google, and maybe they think, oh, I got to do it as a prompt, so I'll put it in a question. Then they get the answer and they go, okay, and off they go, not
Mhm.
realizing that the power of these models is in the conversation and
Ex
continuing to dive down and challenge and all of that. And when you start to do that, the results are amazing. And I think
mhm.
when people start to get used to that, then they'll have no problem talking to AI agents.
And it almost blows like, we're talking about the people who just, like, use,
Yeah.
the Google AI feature.
Yeah. Yeah.
It blows my mind that there's not more curious people out there about this technology because it is scary
Hmm.
of what's about to happen in the next of what I personally know is what's gonna happen in the next 10 to 15 years.
Hmm.
The fact that it's not even a tad bit interesting or you're not a tad bit curious about what this AI tech's gonna do, whether it be AI voice, chat, AI assistants, the fact that nobody's curious about this, it seems like, is mind-boggling to me. I don't get it,
Hmm.
you
No,
know?
absolutely. No, I agree, but I think it's going to be, well, the people who are going to win are the people who really dive into it and figure out how it can elevate their jobs as opposed to replace them.
Mhm.
If you don't, then yeah, you're leaving yourself open.
Yeah.
Getting back to Thoughtly for a moment, could you give some, not, you don't have to name names, but just give some examples of where you've done this with companies and what the result has been and how
Mhm.
it's changed their approach.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned our ideal use case. It's that
Mhm.
outbound type of use case.
Yeah.
It's what we've seen most success in. I could start there. We've seen like Nomad, for example. They're um, super great customer. They're a property management software, and they have thousands of leads that have shown interest. They submitted an application, then nothing. They
Mhm.
don't go ahead and become, paying customers. So what they do is they send email campaigns and text message campaigns trying to get them back to speak to an advisor. That doesn't work. So they came to us. Within a week, they had an agent launched, and within 90 days, they had 650 meetings booked
Mm.
directly with those advisors. They saw close rates jump from 15% to 30% within those 90 days. And that was only in the first 90 days.
Mm.
We're going to be doing a second case study with them to discuss
Right.
their progress there. Then,
And that just shows you though the what you can do at scale that is really hard to do at scale with
mm,
people, right? I mean, and I think the idea of scaling by people is such an old idea now. I mean, I don't. I'm still blown away by companies who still insist on hiring reams of middle management and
mm,
hiring full time resources for every single task out there, even if there's not a full time job for them.
yeah. Even if it starts at something as simple as building a receptionist,
Hmm.
building an after hours receptionist. I
Yeah.
find no harm in trying this stuff, because truth of the matter is it needs to expand. If it doesn't expand, your competitors you're going to get eaten alive. But starting where you're comfortable, I think it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer.
No, I love that idea of like an after hours receptionist, because as you said, I mean, it can only be beneficial. It certainly can't do you any harm. And
Mhm.
it's a great way to dip your toe in the water. And you might discover that you're the only one in your niche, in your area, whatever, that
Yeah.
has that after hours receptionist.
Yeah. And I would hate to sound cold. I would hate to sound heartless and say like nobody understands what we're doing. You have to get on board. What we do best is we ease people into this process.
Mhm.
I completely understand. AI voice agents making calls for my business sounds like a long shot. I don't want to jeopardize my customers. I understand. What
Mhm.
we do is we actually allow you to try it out for 30 to 60 days, see if it's something you want to do.
Right.
And oftentimes, if not majority of the time, people see results within those first 30 to 60 days, and then they're hooked. So,
Yeah. So what over the past couple of years, as you've been building this up, what lessons have you learned about building and scaling a business?
yeah, that is a huge question. And I wish I could sum it up into a sentence, but I've learned so much. But out of everything, it is who you surround yourself
Mhm.
with that's ultimately going to lead to where a business goes. Um, and I have been blessed enough to have the best team surrounding me. We are all on the same page. We all know exactly where we want to go, and every single day we fight to the death for
Mhm.
that exact spot. I could tell you personally, we have people getting here inside the office around 6 a.m. and we have people leaving here at the office sometimes at 1 a.m., sometimes at midnight. Um, we are a startup through and through, and we are all going towards that same place, and it's beautiful. I think
Mhm.
that's my absolute favorite part about the business, and that's the most important thing about it. Um,
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you bring on board as long as they're hardworking and then they have that vision that you have. It's you know
Yeah. So what's next on your product roadmap? Where are you going from here?
it's a great question, and it's very exciting where we're going from here because we're going to be expanding outside of the AI voice space.
Mhm.
Although we are the AI voice agent platform, we are extremely professional and
Yeah.
dynamic when it comes to voice agents. We're going to be expanding into omnichannel.
Mm.
This means that instead of just AI voice agents as a word, we're going to be AI personas,
Mm.
meaning this AI is going to be able to communicate on all different platforms while having context of their previous conversations. It's just
Wow.
like if you and I had a conversation just now, and I followed up with saying, "Hey, it was great to talk to you on SalesPOP.
Mhm.
Do you mind if you book a demo?" I don't
Right.
know if I'm trying to sell you.
Yeah, sure, sure.
It's having the concept of what happened previously and spreading it onto omni-channel platforms,
Mm.
LinkedIn, WhatsApp, text message, email. Therefore, you do have ultimately a complete AI employee through and through.
Mm. Yeah, I mean that'll be wow. When are you hoping to bring that to market? Because that seems that seems like a whole other level to just the AI doing discrete things. I mean, now you're talking about a really intelligent agent being able to go across, as you said, all these different channels, etc., but also
Mhm.
intelligently link it all together and be. I mean that would be tremendous. Like
Yeah.
that for me.
What I
That's
can say is that I can't say the date, although we do have one. It
Mhm.
is this year, and we're at Thorley V1.8. It's going to be Thorley V2 where this launches,
Mhm.
and we have a countdown. It's like a rattling countdown board out there for
All
each
right.
day that goes by for this Thorley V2 launch. It's going to be huge. I've already seen it.
Yeah. So the future, I mean, a lot of we were experimenting ourselves now. I mean, with the first super agent, but I think super agents and subordinate agents and all of that are. I mean, you're really going to be building a kind of an almost a hierarchy of agents.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's going to be to the point where you're going to be surprised when your AE closes the deal. I think the customer is going to end up saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, tell Tessa she did a great job." And the
Right.
AE is going to be like, "Oh, by the way, did you know that was
And
an AI this whole time?" I think that's going to be the point we're getting to.
yeah, no, I would totally agree with you. Absolutely. Well, listen, Will, thank you. This has been fascinating. All Will's
John,
information will be below this video. But before we go, please do remind people about Thoughtly.
Oh, absolutely, John. I have one follow-up question. I couldn't help myself but notice this.
Mhm.
I noticed that you have like nunchucks
Yeah, I do.
and swords on the wall. I have to ask about this. You seem like an interesting guy. I had to bring
Yeah,
that up.
it's I've been I've been I did taekwondo in my youth, and then when my son was 3 years old, he's now 21. I started him in back in taekwondo, or him in taekwondo, and then I joined again. So we've been doing this together for 18 years now,
Wow.
and we're both like uh, fourth degree master level. And
Wow.
in fact, my son is in his last year in UCSD. He's leaving next week. He's doing his final semester in Korea.
Wow.
So he's doing 4 months, and he'll be yeah. So
That
it's
is wild. You and I have that in common. I don't do taekwondo, but I'm big into martial arts.
yeah, because we do like taekwondo, hapkido. We do swords, gumdo, nunchucks,
Wow.
bow stuff. We do
I would hate to be the guy who breaks into your house.
Yeah, but no, for me, I mean, we're not getting off topics. For me, and this is my advice to parents, to be honest, is the best thing you can do is put your child in martial arts when they're small. It's the best thing you can do, as long as you find the right instructor, because it's like everything else in life, there's good, bad, and indifferent. But find the
Mhm.
right instructor. The discipline doesn't, to be honest, matter really as much as it matters the instructor. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's the only place where they will learn discipline, respect, all of these,
sure.
earning, all of these things that they don't learn in other sports these days, to be honest, in a lot of ways. And it
100.
is life changing, and that's because people used to say to me, like, why is your son so polite and well behaved? And I'd say martial arts,
Yeah.
and really good parents.
Yeah, yeah, that'll help too.
Yeah,
I would have to agree. I always say I've learned more lessons in the boxing gym than I ever learned in a schoolroom.
yeah, I do some boxing too, actually. Yeah, so
Yeah.
boxing
Oh,
is so awesome, and so incredibly hard. I mean, people don't understand how hard it is.
yeah, yeah, and that's the beautiful part about it. You gotta
Yeah.
get humbled every once in a while. It'll teach you a whole lot about yourself.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, just remind us about Thoughtly before you
Yeah,
go.
absolutely, absolutely. So for anyone who is interested in not only discovering what AI voice agents could do for your business, but is just overall curious about how you can transform your business with outbound AI voice agents, we recommend going to Thoughtly or go to thoughtly.com. You could book a demo directly with our team. We get you started for 30 days, sometimes even 60 days, completely risk-free. You could try it out, see how it affects your business, and take off from there.
Yeah,
John, it's been an
absolutely.
absolute pleasure speaking with you today.
No, absolutely. And I'm just reminding people out there, particularly if you've got the businesses like Will was describing earlier, and you don't have follow up nailed down, then you should check this out, because I guarantee you there's businesses around here who've lost my business because they never followed up or didn't follow up quick enough. So here you go. There's a solution for you. So go check it out. So thanks again, Will. Thank you for watching and listening. And I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.